World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Hello, and welcome once again to another fantastic Tuesday, an hour of where we do what we do best, which is help you get financially fit, financially prepared. My name is Tyrone Glover, and I'm the Dress Down CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery. I want to thank you for making time this Tuesday to come and join us on another trip down financial literacy, financial intelligence, along with a sprinkle of investing and all the things that you are going to need. Now I'm going to rephrase that. Not all the things, but as much as your brain can comprehend. We are now in our new location, which is at 86 Main Street. I'm super excited. Even though that we're still giving that same great information, we had to upgrade our location, upgrade our technology, upgrade in so many different capacities. So I want to thank you for bearing with us as we have to go through the weeks of pre-recorded shows, but I hope you learned something from those pre-recorded shows, because what it's going to do, it's going to help you stay on point, stay focused. Before I start this show, you know I got to do what I do best, which is give a shout out to Kamala Harris. Again, for those of you who are paying attention, we have a Black female running for president of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get behind this lady. Let's do what we need to do, or we're going to find ourselves going down Project 2025, and I'm sure nobody wants to do that. But huge shout out to the African American community, huge shout out to individuals of color, huge shout out to all the ethnic groups out there who are supporting this nominee. Everybody get behind, let's do what we need to do to make sure that she becomes the next president of the United States. With that being said, we're going to dive into the program, and the program is all about you. It's about making sure that you understand what you have to do to navigate some of these financial concerns that are out there. And we know that they're concerns. They're not problems. They're not issues. They're concerns. And until we become more astute and educated in how we address these concerns, they're going to then be that what we don't want them to be, which is problems and issues. Get in front of your stuff now. Do it now. Do it now. I've been doing this now for about 4 or 5 years now, and it's been paying off. It's not only been paying off for me, but I hope it's been paying off for you. I get better and better as I do these shows, and I hope that you are becoming more accountable and responsible for your actions, and then making sure that you're holding the other ones who are navigating those same spaces and they claim that they're doing us a favor. Make sure you're holding them accountable. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Why do we keep trusting individuals or companies who constantly keep getting it wrong? Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. These are supposedly the 3 credit reporting agencies, and unfortunately, they keep getting it wrong. We've had multiple complaints with the CFPB, which is the Consumer Financial Protections Bureau. We've had multiple complaints with the FTC, which is the Fair Trade Commission. There are attorneys generals in states who have filed multiple concerns and complaints against credit reporting agencies who constantly keep getting it wrong. And it is now overdue time for us as individuals of color living in marginalized communities to really get in front of what we're supposed to be doing. And I'm sure you've been picking up the headlines that are popping up below my face here on Soul City Network. Soul City Network's programs are available nationally on Comcast, Roku, Fire, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. Folks, we got it going on here, and it's really important that you understand how to get this content, how to follow this content. If you have any concerns, questions, or comments, again, send us a www.soulcity.me. Get out there, get in front of this content. Black radio station, owned and operated by one of my dearest friends and mentors, Matt. And he is amazing. The things that he has lined up, not just for my show, but the things that he has lined up for the other shows that are on this platform. We're doing it. And it's up to you to now tune into us so that we can continue to keep helping our community. Marginalized communities need these types of understandings. The more we get in front of our situations, the better it's going to be for all of us. So let's get this party started, and let's talk about why is it that we continue to keep trusting companies that get it wrong. And then if you need to get in touch with me, leveragecreditrecovery@gmail.com. leveragecreditrecovery@gmail.com. So why we keep trusting those who get it wrong? Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian credit reporting agencies. They get it wrong, and they get it wrong at our demise, we struggle when they get it wrong. And why? Because we're not doing our due diligence. We got to get in front of what we don't understand. And once we understand it, we'll start benefiting from it. It's really important that you know these things, because once you do, I'm telling you, life is going to get better and better and better once you become more financially astute to what's really holding you back. All right, so the topic today, what's wrong with trusting the credit reporting agencies? Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, those are the major three, and it's our job to understand, what do they do? How are they supposed to be helping us, and what do we do if we find out that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing? So Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, you can see here from an MSNBC reporter where it says 1 in 5 Americans have a mistake on their credit report. 1 in 5 Americans have a mistake, and they're talking about something like a name, address. But when we dove deeper into it, we're finding that there is even more egregious things that are happening. And we have to stop this because it's preventing so many of us from gaining the knowledge, the understanding as to how credit really works. Credit is the only building tool that's available. The only building tool that is available, and it's credit. Stop using your debit, stop using your cash, because it's not building anything. It's not even helping you get to that next level. It's telling all of the entities that you go to, thank you very much, love you, appreciate you, but I'm not going to report any of your activity. This is why it's important to understand credit is a building tool, and the more you understand how to build, guess what's going to happen? You're probably going to be able to build a successful financial understanding, not just for you, but for the generations to come. Next year is a new generation. Next year, we are starting a brand new generation. Shouldn't we now be putting generations that are coming after us, shouldn't we be making them a priority? Because clearly the ones that came before us haven't made us a priority. So I think it's more than overdue time to put the generations coming up, making them more of a priority. And here you can see what they do. Their data sources, the creditors, applications, debt collectors. These are our data sources. And then you have clearly the credit bureaus, and I like to call them bureaus as they are identified, but you want to remember something, they're not bureaus. They have nothing to do with the federal government. And I think that was a trick or a ploy to get individuals thinking that, oh, if I get something from Equifax, which is a credit bureau, ooh, I might need to be afraid. These are for-profit businesses making billions of dollars off of our hardship and our ignorance. I hate to have to say that, but that is the God's honest truth, off of our ignorance. So you got the credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, and the credit reports, which they all provide. And each one of them provides a different credit report. And I don't understand how that's even possible. If a business is doing business with an entity, shouldn't they all be attempting to provide the same information? Well, this is how they get over on us, because we as the consumer, we don't know which creditor is going to use which credit reporting agency. So they use that against us. We have to get better. And the more that we understand that they're using it against us, probably the likelihood that we're going to get in front of it will probably be more advantageous for us. We really have to start thinking more strategically. And if you are unsure what to do, reach out. Why do we refuse to reach out to those who are giving us valuable information to help us move in a manner in which is going to get us to that next level? We have to start doing better, folks. This is the way that we do better. We listen to shows like this. We inquire about things that we don't like within certain understandings, and then we go out and we execute what we need. And we follow up, we follow up, we follow up. Because I've already known, and along with other individuals, these companies are not doing what they are supposed to. They get hit with a fine or a fee, and then that emboldens them to become habitual abusers. That's not going to work as we move into a new generation, new election cycle. There are a lot of new news coming up in this next couple of months. Shouldn't we be in front of it? Absolutely, we should. All right, so what a credit report includes. So a credit report includes personal information. All right, it includes credit accounts. It includes inquiries, so your credit accounts, which are sometimes called trade lines. It includes inquiries. That's how many times that you might be inquiring for a particular product. It includes public records. Are you being sued? Is it a judgment? Is there a bankruptcy? And it also includes collections item. And I want to tell you something about that collections item. You do not owe a third party. Let me make that abundantly clear, because all of the clients that I've helped have asked all of the same questions, and even the ones that I'm now starting to address are equally asking that same question. Do I owe a third party? Do I owe a collection company? You do not. Why do you not owe a third party or a collections company? Because you have not gotten into a financial contractual obligation with that collections company. All right. The original creditor is making a choice. They can either stick with you and that contractual obligation that they have, or they can choose to charge it off. You're not forcing them. That is a choice that they're making because they understand that there is a payoff by charging it off. I'm telling you, I know more than I'm supposed to know, but I'm telling you right now, it's helping anyone and everyone who doesn't understand how to get these things off your credit report and how to improve your credit score as you remove negative items and as you improve by using credit building items. Super important to understand that. But as we dive deeper into it, I just wanted to let you know what a credit report includes, who are the major three, and what is it that they're really doing to harm us even more. All right, so the credit report's still a mystery. GOA, which is the Government Accountability Office, finds while consumers are very aware of credit reports and scores, many do not understand the factors that negatively impact their financial report card, according to the report issued by Congress. Again, by Congress. This is not by Tyrone, this is by Congress, because Congress has to, as with everything, they bring these CEOs down. Congress gives individuals, or not Congress, but the way that the structure has worked. They do wrong, they have to go and account for that. And we should be holding them accountable, but thank goodness that we have a body that also equally holds them accountable, and that's Congress. So Congress has found out, selected surveys, response by race and ethnicity, credit reports sections. No, they have the right to obtain a credit report. How many people really know that? In African Americans, thank goodness, at least 66%. Hispanics only 48, but 77. So there's still a bit of a gap. At least we know that we can obtain a credit report. How many of you know how many times you can obtain that credit report? It used to be once a year, and now due to COVID and due to the magnitude of all of the discrepancies, you're now able to get your credit report once a week. So if I can get something once a week for 52 weeks, I think we should all be doing a much better job at monitoring and understanding how our credit works. Known race was not on their credit report, 51 and 50. So half of African Americans thought that race was something that impacted their credit report. And it doesn't. It doesn't have any impact at all. Credit score sections know that the correct definition of a credit score. How many of you believe that what you hear when you get your credit score, you think that's right? Probably isn't, 59%. So I'm looking at some great numbers, but I'm still seeing some large gaps. Our Hispanic brother and sister in it, what's going on there? Only 39% of you knows skipping loan payments could affect your score negatively. 84, 92, and 63. Great. Again, if you know that skipping a payment is going to hurt your credit score, why are we not doing better? 84%. That is an amazing number. So you know that it's going to impact you. So why is it that you're not making that minimum? I don't want to say minimum, payment. Why aren't you making a payment that significantly brings down that amount that you may owe? And if you do that on a regular basis, again, you got to remember you're dealing with algorithms, you're dealing with AI, you're dealing with technology that they're using to hold you accountable, but also do more harm. So it's really important to know as we go over each one of these particular items here and dive further into, are you doing the right things? But these numbers are quite impressive. So we know we're just not doing. And there's a lot of reasons, or there's multiple reasons as to why. Income, wage stagnation, not seeing promotions or not seeing an increase in wages, having to jump from job to job to job to make ends meet, or having to take on multiple jobs. So income is a huge factor, and also the mistakes are even more of a factor. So as I say, it's time to get in front of these issues. No late credit card payments could affect scores. And again, we know these things, but yet we are failing to do these things. Now we have to. All right, dispute sections. No, they have the right to dispute information on their credit report. These numbers are impressive, so we know it. Now, folks, let's get in front of it and start doing it. If you have any questions, challenges, whatever it may be, reach back out to us. We'll be more than happy to give you what we know to help you get better at understanding credit. All right, so what are credit reporting agencies? Our credit reporting agencies, often referred to as credit bureaus or consumer reporting agencies, play a critical role in the financial ecosystem by collecting and selling information about an individual or company's credit history. The collected data encompasses a wide array of detailed, including identifying information, debt levels, payment history, credit limit, account balance, payment status, items sent for collections, public records such as judgments and bankruptcies. All of these things, they weigh on your credit. And when they weigh on your credit, guess what they do? They hurt you to some degree. And we now need to start getting in front of these things so that they don't hurt. Identifying information. If you got multiple names on your credit report, you might want to look at getting them off. I'm Tyrone Glover. I don't have a middle initial, so I should not have something that says Tyrone A through Z Glover on my credit report. I live at a particular address. That address that's on my driver's license is the address that should be on, the only address that should be on your credit report. Now, I have heard that positive credit items may have different credit. Let me rephrase that. Positive credit items may be associated with previous addresses. So they may stay on your credit report, but if it does not, and from my understanding, what I've been able to ascertain and also get removed are addresses that do not pertain to any positive credit items or addresses that do not pertain to the individual. All right, names, as I said, names, phone numbers, employer information. If it's not current, it doesn't belong on your credit report. And that itself, by just calling the agencies and letting them know that, could get you up to 60 points by getting those items removed. All right. So if you were looking at 600 and you needed to get into a new apartment or you needed to buy a new car and getting to the score of 660 or 630 or 650, well, by just doing that one thing could get you possibly 60 points. And then obviously the other items are what we already know we should be doing: reducing our debt levels, making sure that we're paying on time, keeping that credit limit at a understanding that allows for me to use what I need, but then bringing it back down to where I need to keep it, understanding my balance, payment status, making sure that if items do happen to go into collections, that you're able to get them off once you've been able to satisfy them. All right. And then public records such as judgments or bankruptcies. If you're going through anything that's going to end up through the court system, it's overdue time to get in touch with me. I have an item here that I'm working on with a client as well. So I do this for a living. I love it. And when you love what you do, what has the saying always been? It's never work. So using this information, credit reporting agencies generate credit reports and credit scores that reflect a person or company's credit worthiness. These reports are then sold. Again, think about that. Sold to lenders and creditors. Your information is sold. So anytime information is sold, that means somebody else is making a contractual relation or has made a contractual relation with somebody else to buy this information. So Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, they're doing it for this. They're not doing it to make sure that you are 100% accurate or things are 100% accurate, because it's all about this. It's all about that money. If they can deceive by using something called eOscar, if they can manipulate by using us as the individuals who may not know, because they know that we will not stay consistent on certain things, then guess what it does? It helps them. It hurts us. It helps them. These reports are then sold to lenders and creditors who rely on them to make informed decisions about existing credit or employment. Now, the credit is critical. The employment is also critical, but due to a law that was passed, the employment is not as, or should not be, a major factor. But what we're finding out, if they put that on that employment application and you omit it, don't be surprised that you don't get that job. It shouldn't be a factor for you to get the job, but think about it in this manner. If you're going to be dealing with money, resources, anything in that regards that's going to have an accountability aspect to it, then you might want to make sure that yours is always taken care of first. All right. Omitting something on an application might prevent you from getting the job. Additionally, mortgage lenders, landlords, and potential employers often utilize credit reports as part of their evaluation process. The three major credit reporting agencies in the United States are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Regularly viewing credit report from these agencies is essential to ensure that the information is accurate, complete, safeguarding your financial health and opportunities. Biggest part of that statement is accurate. Your credit report must be accurate. And if it's not accurate, you should be making sure that you're following up with yourself, one, and then also equally following up with the three credit reporting agencies to make sure that they're doing their due diligence. They have no other choice. They've been given this responsibility to make sure that they're accurate, but it's also up to you to do your part. And if they're not, it's up to you to make sure you're seeking out individuals like myself who can help you navigate and make sure that things are 100% accurate. And on that note, 100% is the only number that we want when it comes to your credit report. 100% accurate. So here's the breakdown of the types of information these agencies typically collect and report and identifying information. This includes your name, your address, your social security number, date of birth, and sometimes employment information. This data helps the bureaus accurately match credit activity to the correct individual's credit report. And we already know that they're not doing that on a consistent basis. We already know that. But if you don't follow up to make sure that you are who you say you are, guess what? You think they're going to go back and double check to make sure, oh, well, let me see if Tyrone Lover's stuff is 100% correct. Absolutely not. They don't care if I have an 850. They don't care if I have a 350. Their job is just to make sure that they're making money. And that's the part that I want everybody to walk away with here today. They only care if their bottom line because they are a business. And guess what? Business is real good for them. Real good. So our information that they use and they sell and they do whatever it is with, they're leaving it in our hands to make sure that we're doing our part. But if we don't do our part, who we go back and we yell and scream and holler and bitch and complain. Excuse my French. I'm sorry I didn't mean to say that. But is that what we do? No. We stay in front of our information. We make sure that our information is correct, and we hold those accountable, including ourselves, to making sure that they're doing what we want them to do, not for their business, but for us, the consumer. Debt. All right. Details about the amount of debt you have with different creditors, including credit cards, mortgages, car loans, and other personal loans. And as you can see, those 3-4 items there, credit cards, mortgages, car loans, and other personal loans, those are credit categories. They fall into your what we call the credit mix. And you want to have a nice mix, just like a salad. I like spinach in my salad. I like a variety of different meats. I love carrots, raisins. Sometimes I put some walnuts. So again, having an eclectic mix when it comes to your credit is only going to help versus what most of us traditionally only have, which is credit cards. You might have an auto loan. Very few of us have a mortgage. And that's something that we're going to be diving in as the next year comes to fruition as to why is it that not enough of us are credit worthy to own property, because that's a big, huge issue that has been plaguing me for the last 10 years. Your rent will not get reported, but your mortgage will. Please, somebody out there, make that make sense. When we know our biggest expense is our rent, so why would an agency or companies or whatever it may be, even the United States government, why would they say, oh, we're going to omit that part and we're going to make sure that everything else that you do gets reported? All of your negative gets reported, but barely not enough of your positive gets reported. All of your negatives get reported, but barely enough of your positives get reported. That has to change. It has to change. And I'm hoping as we navigate through these understandings, I'm hoping that we all start picking up on those pieces, those nuances. But I tend to always forget to let you know that you can leave questions and comments. If you have a question that you would love me to answer, please go to YouTube, Soul City Network, and type in a question in that comment and in that chat area. If you have a question and you're watching on StreamYard, go to that comment area and leave a comment or a question if there's something that you want me to answer as the programs are navigating through the hour. All right? Just wanted to hone in on that if you had a question. So the next one, repayment history, information on how consistently you make payments on your debts. Late payments, missed payments, and the frequency of such events are recorded. The more you stay on point of making payments on time, that's 35% of your overall credit score, just paying on time, 35%, bringing down your utilization. If you maxed it out for whatever the reason is, and you brought that utilization down, that's 30%. Those two items alone, that's 65% of your overall credit score. So you're going to be doing good because you're already on that upward trajectory. I keep telling everybody, I'm going to constantly keep saying, credit is not a roller coaster. We need to get off the roller coaster and we need to get onto the rocket. Credit is a rocket. And the more that you understand that your credit score every single month should be going up and not stagnated or going down and then going up a little bit and then going down and then going up a little bit more and then going down. No, that's not how credit's supposed to be operating. Credit is a rocket. Once you understand how to use it more effectively, then you can turn your negatives into a much more positive and a favorable for your bottom line. Credit limits. The max amount of credit you can use on each of your credit accounts. You have a limit, And that limit per the understanding is that you cannot use, or you shouldn't be using any more than 30%. That's what they keep telling us. Don't use any more than 30%. But if I have 100%, why would I only use 30%? Doesn't make much sense. What they're basically trying to convey to you is that you can use the whole 100%. Just in that 30-day time frame, you got to bring it back down to that 30%. You can use the whole 100%. It's just saying that whatever that due date, by that due date time, you have to have enough resources to bring it back down to that 30%. And depending on your credit, you want to also do a little bit of math. So the mathematical understanding that I've added to the equation is you take your limit, multiply it times 23%, and that's going to tell you what your balance needs to be. Why should I carry a balance, Mr. Glover or Tyrone? Because I don't want to carry a balance. I want to pay everything off. I want to have a zero interest. Well, that's nice if you had an 800 credit score. It's nice if you had a 750 credit score. But if you got a 650 or a 625 or even a 700, you want to give them a little bit of resources. You want to make sure that the business that you're dealing with is making money off of you. Because when it's time for you, or when you reach that pinnacle level of now I'm there, they shouldn't be making any money off of you because you've given them more than enough. All right. Yes. If you've been in the credit game for 20, 30, 40, 50 years and you're still paying interest, you're getting taken advantage of. Oh, it sounds kind of weird to say that, huh? Oh, it is not weird. It's very much so. How does the United States government give banks zero interest? Think about that for a minute. That was my Japanese. So, anywho, yes. Why? Because they can. They used to borrow at a certain interest rate, but now they've gotten so big and so large that the United States government says you're moving the economy. So we're not going to charge you interest. Why don't you go out and charge the millions of consumers out there in the United States, or the billions of consumers out there in the world? So they're making money hand over foot. So as I said, when you're in that low credit realm, you want to definitely be making sure that the business is making money off of you. And once you get into that higher credit realm, you should definitely be telling them, you're not making any more bread off of me. You've made enough off of me because I've been with you for that long. It's a relationship. And a relationship needs to reciprocate in the manner in which it's going to be beneficial to both parties. And unfortunately, we're seeing that it's not beneficial to both parties. So understand that limit and how you navigate that more successfully. Your balance, the current amount owed on your credit accounts, the balance. Keeping a low balance is going to help you with making sure that you're meeting your contractual obligation. Do not pay it off. Now, some of you may have seen the benefits to that because you were consistent with that. The industry, meaning the AI, the algorithms, they want to see consistency. If you're consistent with that understanding, guess what? You're probably going to end up doing very, very well for yourself. But if you found that over the last couple of years, you haven't been consistent, you're probably going to see that you're not reaping the full benefits of how you're using your credit. So you've got to get back on that consistency track. And there's some nuances that I'd love to share with you. Anyone who wants to know what I know, please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to sit down with you and go over the particulars that are going to make you more effective and give you that credit understanding that's going to benefit your financial bottom line. Payment status. This includes the status of each of your accounts, i.g. paying as agreed, late, or in default. And I know a lot of us are dealing with student loans, and I'm here to tell you that the Biden administration has done a fabulous job in making sure that these student loans are getting wiped off. But what I'm noticing as well, they might be taking off the debt, but they're leaving the negative information. Removing the debt, but leaving the negative still doesn't help you, Joe. Still doesn't help, Kamala. It's nice that you're doing what you're doing, but guess what you should equally be doing? If you're going to remove that debt, then you need to remove all that negative information. Give individuals a fighting chance. Well, it's nice that they don't have to make that payment due to the fact that those of us in the United States, were duped into believing that schools were going to give you that job once you got that degree. Wasn't going to happen. They knew that from the jump. They knew that from the jump that you were not, if you took on $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 worth of student loan debt, you knew and you should have known from high school, which they don't teach this in high school, which they should start now teaching in high school, that debt load that you were going to take on, you were never going to have that job to pay down that debt load. It is what it is, folks. It is what it is. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing to help you now make sure that our students are not being saddled with enormous debts so that they can do what? Come out of college and not get the job that they are entitled to help reduce that debt load. I don't know how you take on a $50,000 or $100,000 debt and then you're saddled with it for 25, 30 years or even longer, and then your debt load becomes even higher. I had a client who told me she took out $50,000. Her loan now is up to almost $80,000. Didn't have the job, had some medical conditions or situations that prevented her from, but you still watch that interest rate doubling, compounding on so many levels. That is a travesty, and it is a blatant, right out lie. And if I were the one who was dealing with it, I would call it even fraud. That's theft. That's theft of resources. Knowing good and well that those loans that you were taking to go to school was not going to pay off that debt at all. At all. It's pretty sad. And most of these colleges have more endowments they can let people just skate through. They can let people just easily maneuver through these academia understandings and shouldn't have to come out of pocket not one penny. I went to school in Europe, and you know what my debt load was? The big donut, nothing. So understanding the balance, payment status, understanding where that and how that must apply on a regular basis, keeping consistent with making sure you're doing these things. And one of the biggest things to make sure that your credit is proper and doing what it needs to be doing, you got to be checking it. So the best place to go to check your credit report. I don't, and neither should you at this particular point, worry about your credit score. I don't, nor do I suggest that you worry about your credit score. Focus on your credit report, because your credit report is the thing that's going to allow for you to get what you want, that credit report. The credit report is going to help you with making sure that things are done the right way. All right, it's nice to want to know about the credit score, but I need to know more about what's creating the credit score, which is that data. So items sent for collections, accounts that have been transferred to a collection agency due to non-payment. And this is where I really have the biggest issue with credit reporting. How can somebody, meaning a bank, how can they, or a financial institution, doesn't matter, you got into a contractual obligation. These individuals know that, hey, as long as things are going the right way, both parties benefit. One gets the interest that is attached to the loan, and the other one gets the product once the contract has been settled. But say, due to whatever the circumstances, you were unable to meet the terms and conditions of that contractual obligation. You, as the consumer, would hope that you could renegotiate the contractual terms and conditions. That's what renegotiating, that's what these are all about. These are about negotiations. Yes, we would love to keep the original understanding, but sometimes things happen. As we know, life is about ebbs and flows. So how is it that a business can then make an ultimate decision that obviously benefits their bottom line? They say the contractual obligation did not go in the manner in which they wanted it to, so they close the account, or they reduce your amount, or they do something that's going to impact you but obviously help them. And for the most part, they're closing these accounts now. They're closing your accounts because of inactivity, because of infrequency of being able to meet the monthly understandings, whatever their rationale is. They got AI and they got algorithms to do all of the decision making. You just have you. So they decide to then say, okay, you know what? We're going to close this account leaving you with that balance still there. They want that balance obviously in full. Once they close that account, that debt is then bad debt. All right. But here's the benefit to them. They can close it and they can sell it pennies on the dollar, being that you now are guilted because you didn't get the opportunity to renegotiate. They never came to you and said, oh, let's sit down and let's talk about how can we help you. Nope. They said, well, hey, we don't want this debt any longer. Plus, we have shareholders and we have new investors. So we don't want our new shareholders and our investors, or our investors and our shareholders, to come into our business and see that we are carrying so much debt load. So what do? They write it off. Write it off. What you don't see, you can't obviously claim that it's going to impact my business. So this is how they get around that. So they charge it off, it becomes worthless, and then what do? They sell it for pennies on the dollar. Don't believe me? Go to CFPB and type in how much do they sell debt for. That's it. Go to your Google browser, anywhere, Safari, whatever it is that you use, Internet Explorer, doesn't matter. Type in Firefox, whoever. Type in how much is debt bought or sold for, and you'll be surprised to find out that pennies on the dollar, pennies. But yet you're guilted into believing that you owe a third party who claims that, oh, by the way, we're going to be giving all of this money back to the original creditor. That is a farce. Who would take on somebody else's headache? You tell me that. Not getting nothing back in return? That's why companies like Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, financial institutions, loan, credit cards, it doesn't matter who they are, as long as they are dealing in the spectrum or the space of finances, they get the same opportunity to write that debt off. And once they write that debt off, what they're doing is they're basically saying, we're not going to put employees in a situation where they're calling consumers to try to get that back, which they should. They should bring back their internal collection companies or their collection agencies or whatever you want to call them inside their companies. They should bring them back. They should teach individuals, like I teach individuals, how to restructure someone's terms and conditions. And once you do that, you probably open up a whole new understanding, and then you get rid of some of these predatory activities that are still ongoing out there in the world. So it's really important to understand how that is sent to a collections company, what happens after it gets to a collections company, and how you, the consumer, are now being guilted into believing, yep, you know what, I did get that credit card. Yep, you know what, I did get that loan. Yep, you know what, I do. But in all actuality, that's wrong. That is completely wrong. You did get that credit card, you did get that loan, you did get that credit product, but the business itself chose to make a decision not to engage with you, made the business decision to write it off, holding now you accountable to something that their decision prevented you from being able to rectify. Oh, put me in front of a judge. Put me in front of Congress. I'm waiting on that opportunity to be able to do that, because what I bring to the table is only going to help us as consumers. All right, so understand that debt, understand not everything, but as much as you can in this breakdown here, because it's only going to benefit you. It's only going to take you to that next level. All right, so we're roughly about 18 minutes about to wrap this up. I was just checking to make sure that we didn't have a comment or question. But ladies and gentlemen, please, if you have a question, you have a comment, please do not hesitate. Drop that into that StreamYard content area or drop it into the YouTube comment area. All right, so credit reporting agencies, also known as credit bureaus or credit consumer reporting agencies, play a critical role in the financial industry. They are private entities that garner and maintain individual business financial data provided by creditors, lenders, and other financial institutions. We should be focusing on that, what we see here, which is very good to excellent. All right. Every single one of us can move the needle in their credit situation. You just got to want it more than those of us who are presenting it to you. And once you know how to, then all you have to do is follow up. All you have to do is stay consistent. All you have to do is do the pieces that's going to help you with making sure that your financial situations are always taken care of once in a week. That's it. Figure out what day of the week or what week of the month that you're going to sit down and you're going to do your bills. Go back and call all of your creditors and tell them, this is how I get paid. And this is how I'm going to orchestrate how I'm going to be paying my bills. Once you have that in play, then you're going to, again, do what you need to do. But then you're going to wait 1 week, because you have to wait that 5 to 7 business days. That 5 to 7 business days is the big key again. 5 to 7 business days. You have to wait that 5 to 7 business days after you've satisfied, meaning you paid your contractual obligations by paying on time, bringing down your utilization. Now you have to wait, because it's going to take a little bit of time for that information to make it through the system. And here's what we are now finding out. 21 to 28 days later is when they're reporting. So you want to know your due date and you want to know your report date, because we're finding out that the accuracy of what's supposed to be transpiring in your credit report is not transpiring. All right? You got to get in front of these things. I'm telling you, every single person who is listening to my voice, whether you're listening now or whether you listen at a later date, you have to get in front of your credit report. As you can see here, this is FICO's credit scoring ratings. All right, 580 is poor. So if you're in that realm and you had some name or some addresses or some telephone numbers, adding 62, that puts you to 640. You're now in a position where you probably can get that apartment, or you probably can get that car loan. If you're at the 580 to 699, again, same thing. If you decided to, hey, you know what? I got some items here that could come off. Why haven't you gotten them off? That could generate even more plus to your bottom line in your credit report. You could go from a 669, just using the same scenario of name, address, telephone number, employer. That could add you another 60 points. 669 plus 60, that puts you up to 729. You're looking pretty now. Your interest rates now could go from 21 to 18, from 18 to 11, just by, again, adding those or subtracting those negatives by adding more positives and also removing any negatives. All right, you're good. 670 to 737. Add another 60 to that 737. You're at 799. All right, you're 1 point away from 800. And if you are in that upper echelon of the 800s, lower 8s, higher 7s, you should not be paying that much in interest. If you haven't renegotiated with your credit card companies or whomever you have a loan with, if you haven't renegotiated with them or even negotiated with them, why? Everything is negotiable. Everything is a relationship. So you should be using those tools. All right. But there you have it, folks. Credit is a game. The more you understand the game, the more you're probably going to benefit from playing the game. All right. So credit reporting agencies use this information to create credit reports and credit scores that indicate a person or corporation's creditworthiness. These reports and scores are used by a variety of entities, including banks, mortgages, lenders, credit card companies, landlords, and potential employers. The three major credit reporting agencies in the United States are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. By the way, they've all been sued. They've all gone through a CFPB type of evaluation, had to pay back millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in fines and fees. Banks, financial institutions, for all of their shenanigans, all of the things that they do that we, the consumer, don't understand, but we now know that they're doing it to us. While each agencies offer slightly different services and variations in their data are usually minor. For example, TransUnion is the only credit agency that offers identity lock, a service that helps protect against identity theft. Well, there's Norton out there. There's a couple of other ones out there that do provide this protection. But what good is the protection if the information is inaccurate? So before you get bought into any other nuances or things that they might be asking you to sign up for, be careful. Don't get bought into the gimmicks, because there's a lot of gimmicks out there. The Fair Credit Reporting Act, or regulates credit bureaus and includes rules such as allowing consumers to request a free credit report from each credit bureau at least every 12 months. As I just said, this is a little bit old, and I wanted to leave that there so that I could tell you now that this is every week. You can get your credit report from Annual Credit Report every single week. Annual Credit Report. If you are anywhere else and they're charging you a fee, please make sure you look at making sure that is Annual Credit Report, because if it's not Annual Credit Report, then guess what? You're on the wrong website. All right, credit reports do not include information such as race, ethnicity, religion, marital status, medical history, sexual orientation, political affiliation, friends, or criminal record. None of that stuff applies in your credit report. Mike, I need you to stay up. All right, so what are the 5 most common credit reporting errors? Countless individuals have suffered due to inaccuracies on their Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian credit report. These errors can significantly affect their credit score and their ability to secure loans or credit in the future. Some of the most common inaccuracies include, but are limited to, and it's really important to understand these: incomplete account status. All right, you got to be careful. If you're not checking your information, how are you ever going to know? Incomplete account status. A collections account or credit account is reported as open when it actually is closed or paid off. This is a discrepancy. Can confuse lenders and make it seem like you have more outstanding debt than you do. Misidentified account ownership. I'm not going to read every single one of them, but you can get the understanding. You're smart, you're intelligent, you're bright, you're savvy, you're educated. Why is it that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing when it comes to your credit? We would flip out if we left the house and left this in the house. We would drive ourselves nuts. But when it comes to our credit, we barely give any attention to it. We check everything for the most part. We monitor. But why is it that we do not monitor our credit the way that we monitor our tire pressure in our car or our gas level? We got to start doing better. All right. Enormous negative information, incorrect reports of negative information such as late or delinquent payments can severely impact your credit score. This can happen when payments made on time are not accurately reported by the creditor or the credit bureau. Accurately reported. If I made my payment on the 3rd and I waited that 5 to 7 business days, that means by the 10th or the 11th, it should be reported. We're finding out that that's not the case. So with most of us who own or have credit products, guess what happens? After we've made that payment, our resources are so low that we have to use that resource again. But I've already instructed, please wait that 5 to 7 business days. Now that you've waited that 5 to 7 business days, it should have already reported. So I can go back out and I can start using that credit product. But what we're finding out is that even after we've waited that 5 to 7 business days, I start using my credit product. The utilization that I brought down now gets brought back up because the accuracy of these credit reporting agencies that are supposed to be doing per the contractual obligation when it comes to us, the consumer, we understand that they do have a contractual obligation with those of the business world, but they now still have to take care of our side as well. Well, they're waiting 21 to 28 days. That impacts your credit score tremendously. You've met your obligation, but they choose not to meet their obligation to us. You've met your obligation to them, but they haven't met our obligation to us. That needs to stop. All right, incorrect dates. Errors in reports of dates for payments or for late payments. The date of the account was open or the date of first delinquency. These inaccuracies often result from data entry errors or discrepancies in the credit report. All right, duplicate debt listings. an item that was with the original creditor at first and then got bought by a third party and now shows up on your report from the third party. How is that possible? You do not owe a third party. So how is a third party even allowed to put information on your credit report? Well, that comes because you, the individual, are not paying attention. It's really important to understand these pieces. So those are just 5 of the things that you should be paying attention to. How to dispute errors on your credit report. How do we get the stuff off? Now that we know it's on there, how do we get it off? If anyone ever wants this PowerPoint or any of the PowerPoints that you see, you can always go back to Soul City Network or go to Soul City on Facebook and rewatch again, or you can go to Soul City on YouTube and rewatch again, or you can just ask me and I'll be more than happy to send these over to you. I do not mind sharing my information because it's only going to make you that much of a better consumer. Plus, I like to share it because if you're doing what I'm suggesting that everyone should be doing, which is making sure that that household, things that are not being given to us in academia, we should be making sure that our households have them first. So take care of home first. That means your nephews, nieces, daughters, sons, grands, it doesn't matter. Make sure that this information stays within that household and the household uses it for that benefit. So make sure that you obtain your credit report. All right. Request a free credit report from the 3 major credit reporting agencies or bureaus, which is Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. Annual credit report, as I said, offers you a report every single week. Review your reports. Carefully examine your credit report, credit card statements, and other financial account records to identify any error. Compose a dispute letter. And they call it dispute letter, and I wanted to leave that there so that I can tell you you're not disputing anything. Dispute by the term in the definition means you did it. What you're doing is you're challenging. You're challenging the validity of the information that's being reported. So you're creating or composing a challenge letter, but I wanted to leave that word dispute there so that I can really hone in on the definition. All right, and then send the dispute letter to Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, send it to the Fair Trade Commission, send one to the CFPB, send it to all of the agencies that are going to help you with getting these items off. But ultimately, you want to send it to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And then follow up, follow up, follow up. Why do we not follow up, people? Why do we not follow up? After 30 days, review your credit report again to ensure that the inaccuracies have been corrected. If the error persists, you may need to initiate another dispute or seek professional assistance to resolve the issue. By following these steps, you can take proactive measures to maintain an accurate credit report and protect your financial well-being. If you need further assistance, Leverage Credit Recovery is here to help. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are about 3 minutes away, and this has been yet again an impressive hour of making sure that you have the information that you need. Major credit reporting agencies found deceiving consumers. All right, deceiving consumers. I already told you these individuals are not your friends. They're not your friends. They do what they can to make sure that their bottom lines are thick, prosperous, and you are the burden bearer of the errors. You got to get in front of these situations. A recent investigation by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has revealed that TransUnion and Equifax have been misleading consumers about the credit report they provide and the fees that they charge. In personal finance, a credit score is critical as it reflects one's financial history and determines access to essential services without exuberant costs. The CFPB announced that Equifax and TransUnion, 2 of the 3 major reporting agencies, have been deceiving and exploiting Americans. The bureau has ordered these agencies to pay over $23 million in fines and restitutions. They've been paying millions in fines and restitutions for at least as long as I've been alive. The investigation uncovered that the agencies misrepresented the credit scores provided to consumers, falsely claiming that the reports that consumers have received were the same as those given to lenders and businesses. Additionally, the CFPB found that the agencies engaged in deceptive advertising practices, promoting their credit reports as free or costing only $1. However, they failed to disclose that after a trial period of 7 to 30 days, consumers would automatically be enrolled in a subscription costing $16 or more per month. Overall, Equifax has found to be in violation of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which mandates the credit report agencies must provide one free credit report every 12 months through the central state. Long story short, they got busted with their hands in a cookie jar. They were cheating, they were deceiving, they were manipulating, they were doing things that they know they should not be doing. All right, so everybody, again, thank you so much for listening. These shows are designed specifically for you, specifically to give you the information that you need. And for whatever reason, if you can't find us, no matter where you are looking for us, here's our contact information. I already told you, Soul City Network, YouTube, Soul City Network, Facebook, Soul City Network. We are there. We are doing what we need to be doing for you. Contact information for Leverage Credit Recovery. You can find us on our link tree at Linktree. So that's linktr.ee/Leverage Credit Recovery. Email leveragecreditrecovery@gmail.com. That's leveragecreditrecovery@gmail.com. And our phone number, text, call, whatever you may need is 805-428-9424. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for what you do and how you go about your day-to-day. Our job is to make sure that you have the most updated, latest information as to protect your financial well-being, not just for you for today, but for generations to come. My name is Tyrone Glover, and I am the Dress Down CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery. I want to thank you for making time today, and I wish you and yours a prosperous and a wonderful rest of your week. As always, stay safe, America.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.